This is going to sound like so much hate, and I swear it's not.
Welcome to a special edition on the Warner Brothas Podcast. I'm just Keenan Warner, and my brother actually suggested that I should do this because I've been doing some writing for the College Sports Network since I have been graduated from Full Sail University. Again, shout out to Full Sail University for the opportunity that you guys gave me, because it has grown my sports knowledge, my sports ability, and my ability to do this, giving me programs and things that I never thought that I'd be able to do. So I just want to thank Full Sail for that opportunity. But I'm now in a position where I have the ability to create content, and I was able to write about the WNBA Draft, and I wrote a few mock drafts for the College Sports Network. They've been great working with them, all the people, the editors over there, being able to come up with some of these stories and being able to put them out. I talked a lot about the women's college basketball tournament. I'm a huge women's basketball fan. That's actually one of the avenues I want to go forth in life. But I was able to talk about that, and then I was able to give out draft grades after the mock draft was done, once the draft was there. And my brother read the article, said it was a good article, and I should do a video on it, obviously, because I do the podcast all the time. And I was like, you know what? Why not? And so I'm actually going to go through right now and discuss all of the draft grades that I gave. It's talking about all 38 picks in the draft, 38 picks in the draft, because the Las Vegas Aces did not have their 10th pick in this year's draft, foregone because of an investigation from a couple years back. But let's get into it. So I'm going to go chronologically from who has the best grade to who has the worst grade. I have my reasons why in the bio, or in the link in the description will be the article if you want to read through it to kind of give more of your own just thoughts on how I put it together here. But it's going to be up here while I'm talking about it. But the Dallas Wings, I thought, had the best draft out of anybody. And a few easy reasons and then a few other reasons. One, they got Paige Bueckers. I mean, Paige Bueckers is one of the best draft picks we've had, honestly, ever when you go through. She's been the number one recruit. She was the number one recruit in 2020 for a reason. This is the same class that had Angel Reese, that had Caitlin Clark, that had Hailey Van Lith, that had Sarah Ashley Barker, that had all of these great people, Camila Cardozo. So, there's a lot of talent within this, and she was clear-cut the number one. When they played, I think, USA 18 or 19, Hailey Van Lith, Caitlin Clark, Paige Bueckers, I know that picture's been resurfacing. Paige was the best player on that team. Paige has been the best player. Paige was the best player in growing up, 2020, and then 2021 when she was a freshman national player of the year. And then she got the hurt knee, but she ended up still going to the finals and or the national championship, I should say, losing to South Carolina. And then afterwards, that's when she tore her ACL. Caitlin Clark grew and became the supernova that she is. And no discredit to Caitlin Clark. She is such an amazing basketball player. Her IQ, the ability to shoot with range, the show-stopping mentality and the show-stopping ability. Obviously, the passing acumen is maybe the best in the WNBA right now that Sue Bird's not there, Courtney Vandersloot's up there. There's a few others that are very talented with the ball in their hands, giving it to the others. But Paige Bueckers has always been there, and Paige showed in this tournament 3 straight 30-point games, including a 40-point game, 2 things that had never been done in UConn history, goes on to win a national championship. She now puts herself, in my opinion, on the Mount Rushmore, along with Diana Taurasi, along with Maya Moore, and along with Breanna Stewart, as one of the 4 best UConn women's players ever. No disrespect to Sue Bird, Rebecca Lobo, Nafisa Collier, the list goes on, but I think that Paige Bueckers has solidified herself on that Mount Rushmore. But it's not just the fact that Rebecca Lobo said she has the potential to be a top 10 player by the end of the season. It's not just the fact that she can do everything on the court. She doesn't have any holes in her game. The ability for Paige Bueckers is there, and I'm really going in depth with the soliloquy on Paige Bueckers because she is just that good. And that pick alone made this already an A draft. The plus comes in when you add someone like Isaiah James out of NC State who can go get a bucket. She's one of the best offensive players in this draft. She has tenacity. She has the heart, the hunger to get out there. I know she's smaller. I believe she's around 5'8"-ish, but defensively she is not going to be a liability. I think that she can get exploited at times, but I don't think she's going to be a liability because of the effort that she puts forth and the hunger and the attitude that she plays with. Then you get Madison Scott, a 6'2" guard they list her at, but she can definitely play the 3. She could play even a 4 maybe in smaller lineups, and I'm going to get to that here with the Dallas Wings in just a moment. But Madison Scott at 14, you've got a player with long arms, I believe 6'2", athletic, can play high-level defense to go along with Dejanay Carrington on the outside, that you can have lineups where you've got, say you have Arika Ogunbowale sitting, you've got Paige Bueckers, you've got Dejanay Carrington, and you've got Madison Scott. You've got three wings that can play high-level defense, and you have Tierra McCown in the back. I mean, it just all depends on what you want to go with for that line. And then you get J.J. Quinterly. She can ball. So she played at West Virginia. Not many people know about her. She put up over 20 points a game. She was top 20 in steals and in points in D1 this year. She is a girl who off the bench can give you an instant spark, microwave off the bench. She can get you points in a hurry. And then Arianette Vonleh out of Baylor. She is a solid big. There's nothing crazy about Arianette Vonleh. She's really just going to be a backup. Whether she makes the roster or not, I don't know. But she's just going to be a backup big to spell McCown minutes. So it's not like that picks anything crazy. But what that Dallas Wings did with this draft is basically say, hey, we are going to just go out there and we are going to be a high-level roster who will have a lot of wings, a lot of depth on the outside. I mean, run lineups with Paige Bueckers, Arika Ogunbowale, Dejanay Carrington, and then you get Madison Scott and then NaLyssa Smith, who they got from the Fever. NaLyssa Smith can stretch the floor. She can play quality defense down low. The Wings put themselves in a position where they can spread people out. They can go 5 out, let Paige operate, let Arika operate, let Isaiah James operate, but then defensively they can also end up to get more tenacity, and they can also have the switching ability. So I think that the Dallas Wings nailed this draft, and you can tell what their offense is going to be moving forward. They're already one of the highest scoring teams last year, but now they have that this year, plus they're adding a lot of defense, and it starts with the supernova they have in Paige Bueckers that they drafted. Next, the Washington Mystics, I gave them an A. I think the Washington Mystics, it was going to be hard for them not to get at least a B+ or into that, but I think they made all the right picks here in this draft. You got Sonia Citron, who I think Kenny Brooks said that Sonia Citron's just as good as Paige Bueckers, just on that same level. I don't think that, and I don't believe that, but Sonia Citron is one of those players who can go out there. She's already a high-level WNBA ready player. In my mock draft, my second one, I had the Seattle Storm taking her. Malonga, she's the second best player in this draft, so I understand why the Storm went with that. But since there was the trade of Jewel Lloyd obviously going to the Las Vegas Aces, you had Kelsey Plum going to the Los Angeles Sparks. The Los Angeles Sparks sent the second pick to the Seattle Storm. There was more to that draft or to that trade, but they were now in a position where they were just left with a hole. You've got Skylar Diggins-Smith, then you've got Skylar Diggins-Smith, you got Nneka Ogwumike, you've got Ezi Magbagor, you've got Gabby Williams. So that's going to be your starting 5. You have a hole at that 2, and I felt Sonia Citron could go in there. She plays high-level defense. She can stretch the floor. She's not afraid to take big shots. She's played at a big-time program and been in big-time games at Notre Dame. So she would come in there and be able to be a rookie, but be able to provide a spark for that roster and be able for them to go on a championship run. But they went with the future potential. Can't hate on it at all. well. Ezi Magbagor and Malonga in the front court in a few years is going to be absolutely insane, especially when Nneka moves on, because she is older, but she's still one of the stars of the league. But you got Sonia Citron there at 3. I think she's going to add a lot with the backcourt with Brittany Sykes, and then you get Kiki Iriafin in the front court to go along with Shakira Austin, probably bring Stephanie Dolson off the bench. So you've got like an option in lineups there that you can play with. And then you've got Georgia Amore, who I thought they were going to go Anissa Morrow at this pick. I thought that was going to be the route they went, to kind of have like a forward who is tenacious. Even though she's undersized, she can get rebounds. But they went with Georgia Amore, one of the best pure point guards in this draft. She can go get her bucket, though. I would think she averaged close to 20 points and close to 7 assists this year in college, after she went from Virginia Tech to Kentucky to follow her coach there. But I think that Georgia Amore is in a position now where she's got so much talent around her. She's got Citron on the outside. She says she wanted to play with Citron. You got Iriafin on the pick and pop, the pick and roll. You've got Shakira Austin, who is a good big down low. Brittany Sykes, who can take up the ball and do a lot of things as well. So I think that 3-4-6, they nailed that 3-4-6. And then you go to Lucy Olson out of Iowa to take over from Caitlin Clark. Obviously, you knew there was going to be a massive drop, obviously in views, but in the way that in the way that team was covered. But Lucy Olson did a good job with that roster. She transferred to Iowa, and she showed why she is one of the best pure scorers in this draft. And the Mystics need a lot. They're not the Connecticut Sun bad, where they have nothing because they just got rid of everything, but they needed a lot. And so what you got is you got a WNBA ready star pretty much in Sonia Citron. You got Kiki Iriafin, who has star potential, just has to hone a few things in. You've got Georgia Amore, who probably would have been the 3rd pick, honestly, if she was 5'9". I mean, she is probably 6 foot. It's just the fact that she is 5'6" to 5'7" that people kind of had a little pause there. And then you get Lucy Olson, and then you get Zay Green, who can do a little bit of everything there. So, and that's to round out there. These 30 picks are tough because you don't know if they're going to make the roster, with there only being roughly 200 spots, if I'm doing my math correctly. Or not even 200 spots, about 170-ish spots in the WNBA. So it's tough to make those rosters, especially as the 3rd-round picks. But the Washington Mystics, I think, nailed this draft, and they have a lot of potential for the future. And next, we got the Connecticut Sun that we had just mentioned. They traded for the 7th and 8th pick in this draft, or they had the 8th pick. They traded for the 7th pick in this draft. They got Anissa Morrow. Oh, no, they traded for the 7th and 8th. The WNBA draft is so, like, they trade picks like it's just candy. They give away picks like it's candy. They just, okay, here's a pick, here's a pick, here's a pick. But anyways, so they got Anissa Morrow, which I didn't think she was going to be there available at 7, so I think that was a no-brainer pick. Morrow, though, she is short. She's got the tenacious and the toughness that I spoke on a little bit earlier. She's the best rebounder in this draft, averaged over 13 rebounds this year for LSU, and I think that she has the ability to stretch her game out from the three-point line. You saw her this year taking threes. I think she was under 30%, though, from the three-point line, and if you have the ability to stretch that out, and for her to get up to that 32-33% from the three-point line where you have to go contest her out there, she can really get things done there. And then defensively, even though she's undersized for a forward, she can really she can guard 1 through 4 consistently and effectively. So Anissa Morrow up this pick, I think she has star potential upside, along with Saniya Rivers. And the thing that you're finding out from this draft is I genuinely think there has the potential to be like 9 to 10 stars. This is a loaded draft class that could have been even more loaded if Flage, Olivia Miles decided to come out, but they didn't. They decided to forego that stay. Olivia Miles transferring to TCU, replacing Hailey Van Lith, and then Flage just staying at LSU to try to go get herself maybe another national championship, get into that player of the year conversation because she could be there. Juju's out. Lauren Betts is going to probably be leading that. You still got Madison Booker, Leah Chavez coming in at Oklahoma. There's a lot of different players that are talented and great that could be there. But moving forward, we need some more there, and then we got Saniya Rivers. Saniya Rivers is probably the most athletic, if not one of the most athletic. Malonga is also another one that's massively athletic in this draft. She can dunk, and she's athletic at 6'6". But Saniya Rivers defensively is going to come in and already be a high caliber, almost an all WNBA defensive level player. She has got that kind of potential on the defensive side of the basketball. Offensively, it just comes down to, can she shoot at a high level? If she can shoot at a high level, she is going to become a perennial all-star in this league. Even without it, she has the potential to, but if she can really just get that shot up to about 34% from three and become that, she attacks the basket well, can finish with either hand, and that makes her someone who is going to be a complete nightmare. And defensively, we see what the Connecticut Sun are trying to do. They're trying to build another culture, retool their culture. Because they had Alyssa Thomas, Tawana Bonner, Breonna Jones, and all of them are gone. Dejanay Carrington, everybody's gone from that roster. Coach is gone. Stephanie White is now in Indiana. They got a coach from overseas who plays like a high level, kind of high octane, get out and transition offense, and kind of has a read and react offense. That's why I thought Georgia Amore would be perfect here, because you have that read and react kind of style. And maybe they take Georgia Amore if Anissa Morrow goes at 6 and Amore gets there. We will never know. But Saniya Rivers and Anissa Morrow, you build that situation there that I think you have a lot of tenacious potential defensively moving forward. And then you've got picks coming up here where these people could be such good second and third wings around a superstar. And with next year, they're going to have a lot of cap space, the new collective bargaining that's going to be with the WNBA. Hopefully there's not a lockout, but there's the potential for some big free agents with everybody signing one-year deals because they want to get on this lucrative, they get into the money that's going to be coming forth. So it could be a quick turnaround for the Connecticut Sun to get right back into the conference finals where they have lived for the last 4 years. And Rhea Marshall, just a solid big from USC, can defend at a high level, rim protect at a high level in the league. She'd probably be a solid screen setter and then can finish around the basket. But we go next to the Seattle Storm. Dominique Malonga is going to make this a high-level pick or high-level draft. I have them only at a B+, even though she's the second-best prospect in this draft, just because they didn't fully fill in the need that they have there, but they tried to with these last 3 picks, which Sundell I thought was going to be a mid-second, but she actually went early third, first pick of the third round. I did not expect her to drop that far out of Kansas State. Malonga is she's 6'6", she's building a jump shot, she's a raw prospect, but the athletic nature around the basket, she's going to be catching bodies, honestly. Like, she might dunk on Brittany Griner and it might just blow up the internet. Like, she is going to do some crazy things. Since she's from France, they're calling her the WNBA version of Wembanyama, and honestly, for the WNBA she has that kind of potential. She can handle the ball on the outside. She can get downhill. As for a big, that is. Not that she's like Gabby Williams or something like that from the Seattle Storm. But she has just high potential to go do high-level things in this year. For this year and moving forward, she has the potential to be a centerpiece. And I say potential and continuously say potential because that's really what it is with her. But she still has the skill and the raw talent right now to warrant the second pick in the draft. They did not miss on that pick. I thought they should have went Citron to fill in now, but they went with the later, and you can't hate on that. But then when you get Serena Sundell, who can play high-level point guard play, she actually led D1 in assist, but at the same time, she can score, she can get her shot, she's a bigger guard, so she knows how to use her body and size, and she has the ability to play high-level guard play. Then you get Madison Connor off the bench, who is able to come in and just shoot the lights out. She shot 45% for TCU, playing alongside Hailey Van Lith and Sedona Price this year, and she can shoot. She really can just let it fly. So if you have her coming in for 10 to 12 minutes, it just helps space the floor for Skylar Diggins-Smith, for Gabby Williams to get downhill, for the pick and roll. You have put her on the strong side with Nneka Ogwumike. She's able to stretch out and hit threes. And then you got Jordan Hobbs out of Michigan. She was a solid player at Michigan. A guard who kind of held that team together. Michigan's going to be interesting this year because they had 3 freshmen last year, and that's kind of what made them go. So they're going to be an interesting team to watch them ascend. But Jordan Hobbs kind of was the veteran that held them together. I think the Storm did a great job in this draft. They built more for the future, even though they still have the potential to win now, and they got players now that can come in and maybe give you big minutes like a Leone Fibich did this year for the New York Liberty. So we'll see what's going on there with the Seattle Storm in the future, and maybe they make a trade. With the Connecticut Sun possibly, Marina Mabry is out there. So they got rid of Marina Mabry, I believe, asked for a trade about a couple months ago. And that's what I actually had in my first mock draft. I had the Seattle Storm and the Connecticut Sun. I had the Sun getting the second pick and drafting Malonga. And I had the Storm getting Mabry because Mabry fits that 2 that they need, can stretch the floor, can play defense, and is a winner at Notre Dame. So I thought that she would be perfect for that team, and she still might be. You don't get rid of Malonga, but you might be able to give up future draft capital and still get Marina Mabry. That's a person that you're going to want to watch out for getting traded. Next, the Chicago Sky. Svitka, this name, the first, I just Svitka. Unfortunately, I apologize for butchering that name, but she has game. She is a bigger forward, 6'4". She's a solid rebounder, but quick trigger, can really shoot the thing. Can really shoot it. And the one thing when you have Angel Reese and Camila Cardozo in the paint around the basket, you're going to want someone who can stretch the floor. But also defensively, she's not great at sliding her feet. That is given. She's not great at sliding her feet. When she's in, you might see some zone from the Chicago Sky because you don't want to get her on an island with some of these guards because her lateral quickness is not really there. But she's a high-level basketball player, high-level IQ. She's been playing professional basketball for the last 4 or 5 years. As you see that, and we're going to be talking about another player who's been playing basketball. I believe she played her first professional game at 14, so she's been doing it for a while. Then you get Hailey Van Lith, who, if you asked me 2 years ago, the day before she went to LSU, you would have been like, okay, that could be a top 5 pick. Then after LSU, you're like, that might be a mid-second. And then she's worked her way back into the first with such a great year at TCU. And Hailey Van Lith, the thing that you saw from her, you saw the added confidence that she had going forward as the TCU season went on. It's like she had to remember how good she was, and that's how she was talking about it, how going to TCU, having her faith in God and everything, and how that helped build her back up into the player that she knew she was, because the talent never left. She showcased even more talent this year, the facilitating ability, the ability to get people the ball. I think she averaged over 5 assists, 5.4, I believe exactly. And Hailey Van Lith just showcased this year everything she can do. She can get her shot whenever she wants it. She can get the 3, she has the step back, she can get to the basket with the left hand. Of course, she's a lefty, and that's what she's known. She's known for that tenacious confidence. At Louisville, you saw it. She went to an Elite 8 with 3 different schools, 5 different times, played the second most games all time in the tournament. I think Paige Bueckers with that national championship game actually passed her for the most games played. But shout out to Hailey Van Lith. I love her game. I think that she's going to do wonders there in Chicago behind Courtney Vandersloot. She's going to learn from a true point guard, a true Hall of Fame level point guard in Courtney Vandersloot. And then you've got Angel Reese, that connection again. That's nice. Maddie Westbeld is someone who I was shocked was picked there, but I thought was good to be picked there. The Sky, I have them at the B because I thought the Svitko one, a little interesting of a pick. I mean, I think there was other people, but at the same time, for what had fallen, what was there, they did the best that they could. But when you get to this point, it's kind of hard. I think that this has the potential to go up to an A-. It just depends on how good these pieces can actually develop. But Maddie Westbeld, 2 years ago, averaging over 14 points a game when Olivia Miles wasn't there. It was Citron, it was Westbeld, and obviously Hannah Hidalgo. That was the big 3. They had a big 4, but Westbeld was out for a while, only averaged a little over 7 points this year because she couldn't get back into rhythm fully. But the thing with Westbeld, she's 6'3", she can rebound the basketball, she is not a liability defensively, and she can stretch the floor. It's a perfect pick and pop big, pick and roll big. I thought that she was going to I thought that she was going to fall more, and I wanted the Fever to take her because I thought that her and Caitlin Clark could do wonders. I thought that they could do wonders together. But, hey, she is smart defensively, and we're going to see what she is in Chicago. I think she can spell and help out Camila Cardozo. You can even go big lineup. You could go... You wouldn't do it because defensively you wouldn't be flat-footed, but you could go Schvitka, you could go West Belden, you can go Reese or Camila Cardozo. You got 3 people who are 6'3" and above who can really let that thing fly. So it could be really good. Now let Hailey Van Lith operate. And then you've got Isha Colby out of Texas A&M, another big that can kind of back up the bigs in Camila Cardozo and Angel Reese. But the Indiana Fever are next. They have a B. So some people have them higher. Some people had them B, and I saw they were like even an A- on some other ones. I had them at a B because I like what they did, but they did the best of what they could there, but I don't think that it's crazy for them. So, like, they filled in everything that they needed. They needed a backup big. They traded away in Alyssa Smith. So, getting a backup big, Makayla Timpson, who has the capabilities of doing high-level things in the league. I think she averaged 18 and 10 last year at Florida State. She can protect the rim at a high level. She's gaining a jump shot. I think she could become a pick and pop from 20. Now, I don't know if she'll stretch it out to a 3, but she can finish around the basket with both hands. And you know that pick and roll game, and she's a rim runner for a big. And you know how Caitlin Clark likes to push the ball ahead. You get Bree Hall, very good defender out of South Carolina, a champion, knows how to win, knows how to play, gets to reunite with Aaliyah Boston, can shoot the corner 3 at a high level. So you've got another person going in there who can do good things. And then you've got Yvonne Isham from Gonzaga, who I'm butchering the name, and that's the problem. But she's from Gonzaga. She's a shorter big. She played well. I think she's 6'2". She's good around the basket, gonna set screens, and she can kind of shoot the midi. So that's another player who, a talented scorer at Gonzaga, but we don't know what she's going to be in the WNBA, but they don't need it. That's just a depth pick. That's just we'll see if she makes the roster kind of pick. But when you get DeWanna Bonner in the offseason, when you get Sophie Cunningham in the offseason, now you've got Timpson, and now you've got Bree Hall to go along with Kelsey Mitchell, to go along with Caitlin Clark, Lexi Hull, to go along with all of these players. They're now in a position where the Indiana Fever aren't the favorites to win it because that's the New York Liberty. They're probably not the second because that's the Las Vegas Aces, but they're right there with the Seattle Storm as one of the 4 favorites to me to go win this whole thing this year. I think that they're going to be in a perfect position. And you get Stephanie White, a coach who has coached at a high level, has coached in a finals, has coached in multiple conference finals. So the Indiana Fever are going to be a team to watch out for moving forward. The Los Angeles Sparks next. I got them at a B. I like what they did. Sarah Ashley Barker is someone who kept rising up the draft board this year. She shot over 50% from the floor, over 37% from 3 at Alabama. That high-octane offense. She's tenacious. She's aggressive. She can get downhill. She is a bigger guard who can play basketball. I thought that she was going to be a steal for somebody later in the draft because draft boards had her low. But then as you saw, that 45-point effort she had in the OT, her last game at Alabama in the tournament, just kept going up and kept going up. And it needed to because she is going to be able to come into LA and around Kelsey Plum. They just traded for Kelsey Plum. You've got Cameron Brink. You've got De'Erica Hamby. You've got Rakia Jackson. That's a perfect starting 5. She can come in there and she can just go to work. She can stretch the floor, play good defense, and I love what she can do for the Los Angeles Sparks, and that's a team that instantly went from, oh, they have some talent, we'll see what they'll be in a couple years, to that team can make some noise in the playoffs and make something dangerous for a team. If they're hot and you've got Kelsey Plum, who is a champion, who is an Olympian, you've got Cameron Brink, who is an NCAA champion, you've got Rakia Jackson, who has been the best player on a Tennessee team and led them into Sweet Sweet 16s. You've got De'Erica Hamby, who is a champion, who has also been growing her game. Now you've got Sarah Ashley Barker to go along with that. You've got yourself a good nucleus there. Saniya Fagan, good big, who can switch out onto guards and can play the forward position out of South Carolina. Another person who is a champion. She adds defensive tenacity to the Los Angeles Sparks off the bench, and now you have the ability to kind of rotate these bigs. And Saniya Fagan can come in while Cameron Brink's still recovering from that ACL and do damage there. And then you've got Latu King, I think that's her name. Again, I'm butchering these names, and I apologize to everybody's name who I am butchering. But out of Notre Dame, a solid big. She showcased that she was able to do things well alongside of the great talent that they had at Notre Dame this year, adding depth to that roster, good rebounder, and efficient around the basket. So King, along with Fagan, grading those 2 picks, and then getting Sarah Ashley Barker, I think the Sparks did a good job in this draft. Then you've got the Valkyries. This has the potential to be a B+ to an A- draft. Just all depends. So you've got Cheyenne Sellers, who I actually thought, and a lot of people thought, might go 5 in mock drafts. Go to the Golden State Valkyries just at 5. They thought that she might be up there. So, or 6 to the Washington Mystics. She is a good scorer out of Maryland, bigger guard, who knows how to utilize her body, can facilitate and make plays, has capabilities defensively. So Cheyenne Sellers was somebody in this draft that I thought could be a high lottery pick. Ended up getting her at 17, so I think that is good. Caitlin Chen, shout out to Caitlin Chen, making the WNBA draft. Obviously, we saw her make some big plays down the stretch of games in the NCAA tournament for UConn in that championship game against South Carolina. Timely shots against USC, timely shots against UCLA, timely plays. She is just a quality point guard transferred to UConn from Princeton. She's a good player. And then you've got the 5 pick. You've got Yoste Yoshite. From Lithuania. She's played in France. She's been playing professional basketball since 14. She is a 6-foot forward with high upside. She can stretch the floor. She is a good shooter. She can get to the basket. Good playmaker. She is smart. The GM himself, I'll read it here, said, "We didn't take that lightly when talking about her playing Euro basketball at 14. The potential to be a difference maker in the WNBA. This is a high potential pick with a team that already has multiple international players, and they're looking at the long-term view." Okay, so if you're building a new team, and you know that this offseason is going to be high-level free agency, and you're going to have high-level players in this draft, too, next year. Okay, so why do I need to go out there and try to just instantly do a now player? Let's get a future player. Let's get something that can build our future, plus give us still space and time to grow this organization. They're taking the long-term view of it, and it makes sense. They see Golden State, they see what the Warriors did. Okay, we're not going to try to go do too much. Obviously, when they got to the point where they had Steph and everybody, they went and got Kevin Durant. They go get Jimmy Butler. They try to maximize the potential of great. But they got Steph Curry. They traded Monte Ellis away and got Andrew Bogut. They let Steph Curry grow. They let him build. He had the ankle injuries, but they still are like, okay, let's go get it. Let's go get Klay Thompson. Let's go get Draymond Green, and then we saw what the team became. They've become a dynasty in the dynasty of this era. But Golden State, they have a great facility there. They're going to be a high-level destination for a lot of these players moving forward. We're going to see what they have. Then we're getting to the last few. We got the Atlanta Dream. I like the pick of Tina Powell. I thought that she was going to be a late first-round pick. She ends up being a mid-second-round pick. You put that along with Breonna Jones, who is now in Atlanta. You put that along with Brittany Griner, who is now in Atlanta. You've got 2 bigs there. You want to stretch the floor. You've got a champion, Tina Powell. You've got a girl who can play defense at a high level, can create off the dribble a little bit more than she showcased at South Carolina. She did so at Oregon, but she can shot 40% for her career, and then you get Taylor Terry in the front court for Ohio State. I mean, just adds depth. That's not too great of a pick. I mean, not a bad pick, but not a great pick. Don't know if she'll make the roster or not. But Atlanta did a lot of their big game hunting here in the offseason, which is why they didn't have a first-round pick this year. But they got Pow, who I did not think was going to be there. I think that's a quality pick, but doesn't add too much to the roster. I do think, though, that she can make an impact. You've got the Minnesota Lynx. They had drafted for the future as well with a name that I cannot pronounce, but an overseas player who is talented, can rebound and defend. Pick us a long-term view for the Lynx because they are ready to win right now. They ended up, when they traded the 11th pick, I thought that they were going to get Tahina Pow at that pick to come off the bench and kind of be backup for Kayla McBride. But they didn't. They looked at a long-term view, and they get Aubrey Griffin at 37, and they get Daniels, who is a skill forward around the basket. Obviously, Aubrey Griffin is a champion. Shout out to Paige Bueckers. She was like, I want both of my teammates to get drafted, and both of them did get drafted. And then you've got the Las Vegas Aces. I got them at a C- in the worst in the draft, not specifically because of their picks. It's because they didn't have a 10th pick. It's because they did a lot of their stuff in the offseason. The Las Vegas Aces are actually my favorite team. They've been my favorite team because when I was getting into the WNBA again, I was like, you know what? I'm going to pick the worst team, and I'm going to roll with the worst team. And the Vegas Aces were the worst team. And they get Asia Wilson, they get Kelsey Mitchell, Kelsey Plum, they get Jackie Young, they have Chelsea Gray. They grow from there. They had De'Erica Hamby, they get Candace Parker, they win back-to-back championships. You've got Becky Hammond. They're a great team. You've got one of the best players of all time going already, to me, on the Mount Rushmore of greatest WNBA players of all time, and probably will be the GOAT and the 3-time MVP, Asia Wilson, Defensive Player of the Year, champion, can do it all. And so I said all that. You've got the roster that you've got. And you add Aaliyah Nye. I thought Aaliyah Nye was someone who also was going to be later in this draft and possibly get to Indiana too, because Indiana, she can stretch the floor. So you get Maddie Westbeld possibly, and then you get Aaliyah Nye. That's what I had going to Indiana. Instead, the Aces took them at 13. Aaliyah Nye out of Alabama. She can let that thing fly. 45% last season. I think she was second in the entire D1 because Madison Connor was one. She can let it fly. But she also can get the ball off the bounce and do a little there too. But I think that's a great pick to have. You have Chelsea Gray, who is probably, she's the point guard. She's Chelsea Gray as a point guard. And last year you didn't get the greatest representation of Chelsea Gray of what she can do. But if you saw her in Unrivaled, that girl's nasty. Girl can play. So you get a guard off of point guard Chelsea Gray who can just let it fly. And then you get Harmony Turner, who is one of the all-time, if not the all-time leader in Ivy League scoring. So you've got a girl off the bench who can possibly do something. Again, it's very difficult to know what these players are going to be when it comes to these late third-round picks, if they're even going to make a roster. But that is the WNBA draft. I thought that the Dallas Wings nailed it, and it was kind of hard not to. Like last year, I thought the Indiana Fever were number one because you got Caitlin Clark. So you're going to be number one. That player alone makes you number one. And I thought Paige Bueckers made them number one. They showed what they're going to be. I thought that there was a lot of different pieces to this WNBA draft, and there's going to be going forward. I think this is something I'm actually going to talk about the WNBA, because I love the WNBA to such a high degree. I think I might just do this kind of often. Let me know if you like this, love it, hate it, what you thought, and what this could be possibly moving forward. We'll see, though. But shout out to my brother for this idea, Warner Brothas Podcast. That's Kyle. This is Keenan. We appreciate everybody who watches the WBP, who has grown with the WBP over the last 5 years, and we're going to continue to do all these great things. But, again, WBP, Keenan Warner, this was fun. If you want me to do more, let me know.